Just say the word Bristol and you'll conjure up visions of a 3-story high concrete coliseum of collision. It's where tempers flare and fenders flail. It is full contact stock car racing NASCAR style. And it's almost as crowded on the track as it is up in the stands. And now you know why this little bull ring in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Tennessee gives the fans. We welcome you to Bristol Motor Speedway for our live coverage of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying. For more on just how crazy this place gets here, let's go down to the pits and Vince Welch.
Well, Doc, how fast and furious is qualifying here at Bristol? Well, consider that a week ago at Michigan, Brian Vickers' pole time was about 39 seconds. Qualifying time today for the top drivers will be 15 to 16 seconds, in that range. 15 to 16 seconds. There is no room for error when you are qualifying here at Bristol. 15 seconds may not sound like much, but you need to be perfect for every one of those 15 seconds because the slightest mistake will be costly. Dave?
Vince, last week at Michigan, the infield in the racetrack was hundreds of acres big. Inside here, it's very small, and all the energy, all the sound, all the stuff you feel in your gut is all poured into a huge bowl here, and the fans know it. They love it here, and all the energy that's generated at this small track is some of the biggest in Sprint Cup racing. Doc?
Thanks, guys. Just 2-3 races remain until the chase begins. NASCAR's version of the playoffs, the NASCAR Sprint Cup chase. And you see Tony Stewart already locked in. Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson could be locked in when they leave Bristol for the weekend. But take a look down at the Bubble Boys. That's where it gets really, really hairy down there from about 10th on back. Only 12 points separate Mark Martin and Brian Vickers. Vickers coming off the win at Michigan. Mark Martin, a heartbreaking final couple laps, cost him 60 points. He would have finished 11th, instead finished a distant 31st last Sunday. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch along with Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie. Glad to have you guys with us. And guys, we're going to play a little bit of how and why here. Now, explain to us, DJ, how do you pull off the perfect qualifying lap here at Bristol?
I don't know if there's such a thing as a perfect qualifying lap, but you have to go attack this place. You realize that when you leave pit road, you have less than a minute to get your job done. You understand that every 100th of a second that you lose out there is probably going to cost you a position. You really have to attack this place. You have to be extremely careful entering the corner. It's really easy to go too far, get the car extremely loose, and then you mess the lap up completely. But you really have to be in the gas a lot. So these guys have been in attack mode since they got here today.
Andy, at this place, why is it so important to qualify closer to the front here more than anywhere else you go?
Well, 43 cars on a half-mile racetrack is a lot of cars, and you can just the starting position itself is very important here, just to get up there and not have to deal with a lot of traffic early. The other thing is these pit stalls. There's 2 pit roads. There's really only 4 good pit stalls, and those guys will be trying to do everything they can to try to get one of those 4 stalls because it's very valuable tomorrow night.
Front stretch pits and a back straightaway pits, the only racetrack where there are 2 separate pit roads here, so a lot of challenges here. And to elaborate even more, let's go back down to Vince Welch.
Well, Doc, track position is huge here at Bristol. How important? Well, consider that in the 97 races here, only 9 winners have started worse than 15th. Oh, sure, you can probably come from the back and win. It's been done before, but it's not likely. If you want to have a best chance of winning this race here tomorrow night, you're going to be darn good in qualifying tonight. And we're about to find out who is and who isn't. Dave?
Vince, if Peter Piper picked a pit here at Bristol Motor Speedway, he would do so based on qualifying. Andy already mentioned that, and the fact that there are only 4 really good pit stalls here on pit lane. The better you qualify, the more options you have. But you don't want to try so hard that you qualify very, very poorly and dial yourself completely out of it. So it's really a balance on this very, very warm afternoon. And Doc, now I'm off to fetch a pail of water. It's hot down here.
So if Peter Piper picked a pit, would he pit on the front or would he pit on the back here in Bristol, Tennessee? We have 47 cars lined up to qualify, and it won't be Peter Piper. It'll be Jamie McMurray, the first guy to go out. We'll come back with qualifying. Jamie McMurray will be the first car to go out to qualify. Jamie back in the spring. And how about Casey Kane? They got the win for the King Richard Petty at Infinity. And Jimmy Johnson, this is one of the tracks where Jimmy has never won. The 3-time Cup champion trying to get on the pole. He was the fastest car in the final practice session. Now, one driver who certainly knows how to get it done here, Kurt Busch, standing by with Vince.
Kurt's having a great season this year, and I'm sure it'd be made even better with a good one this weekend. You've won here 5 times. What's the key to getting around this place?
It's a tough little place. The biggest thing is just protect your race car for the full 500 laps. But you got to put yourself in position towards the end, and you don't have to lead them all. You just got to lead the right ones. And so each part of the race is just a different strategy, a different feeling. Right now, we got to lay it all out on the line, try to get a mid 15-second run here to try to put the Miller Lite Dodge up front.
Track position always key here at Bristol, and that's where qualifying comes in. What kind of car do you have for this qualifying session?
Yeah, it showed well in practice. Then I did my last run and I dropped off. So we went back to square one. We hope that we've made the right adjustments. Track looks a little slick. It always is a little loose here for qualifying. So may the best man hang on to it and put it on the pole.
Yeah, we're about to find out. Kurt will be one of the early ones going out, and the sun is out and shining brightly, Doc.
That is great news. We were expecting showers moving in here tonight with a chance of up to 60% rain later on. But speaking of later on, we'll have live flag-to-flag coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series here at Bristol tonight, 7:30 Eastern Time. Brad Keselowski on the pole for that one. Tomorrow, our live coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series presented by Pennzoil, 6:30 Eastern Time, beginning again with NASCAR Countdown. NHRA action qualifying tomorrow at 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Final Sunday at 10 Eastern. The Toyo Tires NHRA Nationals. And NASCAR Now tomorrow 9 a.m. Eastern at midnight, wrapping up the coverage here of motorsports throughout the weekend. It was a tough weekend last week for Mark Martin, guys. You had to feel for him. We talked about how he would have finished no worse probably than 11th, and instead, running out of fuel and 2 laps to go, he finished 30th.
Yeah, that, we questioned the strategy a little bit, and, Mark was doing everything. We heard him say that during the race he was doing everything that he could to save fuel there at the end, but that was extremely costly. It put them in a very vulnerable position coming into this race this weekend, which is probably the biggest wild card race they have.
He did not run out of fuel. He saved just enough to make it to the finish last week and got a good finish. It's kind of funny, you got teammates that one can make it, 2 of them didn't, and one of them pitted.
A little more drafted, and back in the spring, it was Mark Martin who made it all the way to Michigan. He was the guy that made it, and Jimmy Johnson ran out of fuel. So 47 cars here to qualify. 43 will start the race here, the Sharpie 500 on Saturday night. He's qualified third at California and Atlanta.
I get the question from a lot of people about missing driving. There's certain tracks that you go to, there's things you miss. This qualifying lap is one thing that you missed. This was just literally, 30 seconds of the total excitement that you get as a race driver. You have to get up to speed out of the pits, get going. The tires, this could be, a lot of guys, you're going to see some the first lap be a little quicker. We might see a few of the second laps be quicker, but it means you have to get up to speed on that first lap. That means getting in the gas hard.
Doesn't take long here. 15:56, first time by for McMurray.
I think we have a lot more shade on this racetrack right now than what the guys were during practice this afternoon. Even though we've had cloudy conditions, we might see the speeds a good bit faster than what we saw. That ties what Jimmy Johnson ran as the quickest time, right?
Yeah, that would have been right there as the fastest in practice, and Jimmy picked up a couple of tenths from practice, so right at a couple of tenths, so that was a good lap.
We were watching Nationwide qualifying a little bit ago, and all these guys were complaining the bottom part of the racetrack was very slippery.
Yeah, the guys that I talked with said that you really had to let the car go up in the center. You couldn't keep it down there because it was so slick. So this is a little different tire, Andy, than what the Nationwide guys are running. It could be a little different compound and affecting the track a little different.
Yeah, watch this line Montoya's running. He went way high in 3 coming to the green. Maybe to try to get just a little extra speed. We'll see where he runs on his lap here. And he's not right on the bottom.
Well, that used to be the only way you could get around here was have those left side tires right on the bottom, right at the apron. Not the case since they've reconfigured this racetrack.
Well, he's going to be in the low 15-second bracket here as he goes by. 15:52, so quicker than McMurray, much quicker than Montoya ran in practice.
See if he's able to pick it up on this second lap.
I know we say a lot of times that temperature really doesn't affect the concrete surface that much, but anytime it cools off, it gives you a little more grip. You can see he's a little slower on that second lap, about a tenth of a second.
So Juan Pablo Montoya, he only has one top 10 finish, and the good news for him was it came back in the spring of this year. They have really turned this whole program around. trying to get those top 10 finishes and get in the chase. And right now it looks like he's got a good shot to make his first chase in 2009.
Here's the guy that was the quickest in that final practice session. Jimmy Johnson, who you said hasn't won here, but I was talking with him the other day. He feels very strongly about their chances that this is probably the best opportunity he thinks they've had. You can see he's
loose getting into three. Big time
just
loose.
what we talked about earlier. You can overdrive this really easy. That's going to hurt him.
See if he can recover on this second lap.
It's really hard to do that because that hurt his exit speed too off of turn 4, so it's actually going to affect both laps probably.
He started first here by points, but has never won a pole, and
right there.
Will not do it today. Jimmy Johnson, the slowest of the 3 cars to go out to qualify. So the reigning champ hasn't won here, and but he did win by not losing a race car on lap 1 of qualifying. Qualifying continuing here at Bristol. It's Michael Waltrip on the racetrack. Casey Kane was scheduled to go out. He is on the 5-minute clock. He has not pulled his car off of pit road, so we'll cover Michael and see if we can update what's going on with the 9 car.
Yeah, the 9 car sitting down there in line. It's not like they're not out there to go yet. Must have a little problem where Casey's not there yet.
Yeah, I saw him just getting in the car, so apparently he's a little late getting there. Michael Waltrip with a 1570 of the 4 cars that we have seen so far.
1571.
That's less than 2/10 off of what the pole
2/10
is.
can be huge here.
I'm telling you, it'd be at least 20 spots. You can figure 100th per spot, if not a little closer than that.
Here's a driver that's had a huge run the last 5 races, and also a huge week signing a new contract with Red Bull Racing following that big win at Michigan. And Brian on the charge, just 12 points now out of being a chase contender, being in the chase.
Yeah, what a weekend he had last weekend. The great, exciting finish that we had on Saturday in the nationwide race, and then he came back and did his job. That's second quickest drive of Montoya's time. We haven't seen anybody pick up, but Jimmy Johnson did, but that's because he got loose on that first lap.
Yeah, looks like Brian's definitely going to be slower here on this second lap. That team really did turn the corner with that win. And if they make the chase, it's going to really make them one of the top contenders of the sport.
Let's check in with Jimmy Johnson. Dave.
Yeah, Doc, as you might expect, kind of shaking his head at the end of that one, champ. What happened?
We knew the early draw was going to be a problem, and the nationwide cars are on a different tire. So being in that first bit just hurt us. The grip level was a lot different than what we expected, and I expect the track to get better and faster as we get going. So just one of those bad luck things. Pretty frustrated because we could have had our first pole here today, but good thing is we've got a really good race car, and I think that will definitely be a factor. I just wanted to get started in spot 2.
Yeah, and tomorrow night's what counts more, Vince.
Casey Kane just rolling off for his qualifying run, and the booth noted that Casey was not ready to go when his spot was originally called, but that's because he was in the drivers meeting for the nationwide event that's going to be coming up a little while after qualifying. So the drivers meeting hadn't let out yet. That's the reason Casey was late getting to the car, but now in and on his run.
Thank you, Vince. He gets a little squirrely there coming off too, DJ.
Yeah, a little wiggle right there in the middle as he got back to the throttle and tried to make that exit. You can see it hurt him. 1565. That's 5th out of the 6 cars we've seen so far.
Well, he is sideways coming out of that corner, letting that back end of that car just come around. But
Yeah, it's kind of what we saw with Jimmy Johnson. There he is, loose again off of turn 4.
even slower second time by. So now Casey Kane is 5th quickest out of 6 cars that have run thus far.
And I think these guys that doing double duty, it may affect them even more coming over here to do this, because the nationwide car is so different, and they just qualified those right before we started this. Dave?
And Brian Vickers was able to knock some time off that quick practice time. Brian, what was your car like on those laps?
It was better. A little too loose down in 3 and 4, really good in 1 and 2. It was better than we ran in practice. You know, we're not on the pole, but we're pretty close. We made an improvement. That's all you can ask for. I'm really proud of the Red Bull Toyota guys.
Improving in a lot of ways for Brian. Remember the win and a new signed contract this week, guys.
Yeah, what a week for Brian Vickers here. Couldn't ask for a better weekend, and then being able to get the new contract signed and sealed. Here's John Andretti. First time by for John. It'll be the slowest of the 7 cars that have gone out of 1582.
Yeah, you can see right there, turn 1, where it goes in the green, where he possibly is overdriving the car, getting in the corner, making some speed, but you see just how much that cost him coming off the corners in his total lap time.
Yeah, there's really a fine balance here in getting your car, carrying enough speed into the corner, but not overdriving it. And to me, Rusty Wallace was always the one. You stand and watch him. Why was he so good here? Obviously, he won, I think, 9 times, but he was just so good in watching him get around here. But he's just smooth getting in.
Jeff Gordon's memories the last couple weeks ago, Watkins Glen, he would like to forget what happened here. 4-car crash, and Gordon a victim and head-on into the barrier. And remember, Jeff Gordon had been struggling with back issues, his middle and lower back, and that didn't help it at all. He was just thankful that he was able to go to Michigan last week and not have to come to Bristol.
Yeah, I talked to Jeff just the other day when we were in Washington, and he said his back is fine. He said, you know, it's just, he said the rest of them, he said with these new cars and the seats and things that they run, he said it's the back really for him that takes the brunt of it. But he was feeling okay and said he didn't foresee any problems here for Saturday night.
Not going to like the lap he just ran, though.
I don't think a lot of these guys are liking this stuff. This is just a slick racetrack. It's not something that they've really been accustomed to. When you come here running, you expect some grip when you go out there to qualify.
So Jeff Gordon will clock in 6th overall. Let's go down to Vince.
Clint Boyer's been one of the quickest here this weekend, and certainly on the roll in regards to the recent races. You're making a quick charge to the chase here, but qualifying now first and foremost. How's this sunshine going to play havoc with your qualifying run?
Well, I'm afraid it's going to play a role in it a lot. You know, the sun's back bright. I noticed Vickers ran out and had a good cloud and really ran a good lap, and then you know, you look over your shoulder, the sun's really bright, and you see Kurt Busch slip up. So I think it's going to play a big role, but hopefully Shane and all the boys got me done up well with the Cheerios Hamburger Helper Chevrolet.
We'll keep an eye on the 33 and Clint Boyer.
Thanks, Vince. Kurt Busch looked like he had the pole for a moment. He sat on the pole here in the August of '06. He is a 5-time winner here at Bristol, Tennessee. Can he pull it off this time slower on that second lap?
Yeah, he's just 6 1/1000ths of a second off of what Montoya ran.
You see the tires are definitely losing grip on that second lap. Only one driver has run faster.
P2. I didn't hear your lap time, but P2 there.
Jimmy Johnson's the only car that ran faster on his second lap, and it's because he got so loose on his first lap.
This is a landmark for Mark Martin, 1,000th career start for the ageless wonder, 50-year-old Mark Martin. You know, if you combine all the starts with NASCAR Sprint Cup and Nationwide, you see that a very special evening. Of course, Mark now not only he doesn't mind being reminded of how long he's been around here because he has won so many of those races.
Yeah, but he's really smooth around this racetrack, and if somebody can handle that loose or get their car tight enough, as you can see, he's on a pole run right here by a good bit.
Yeah, nobody driving cars today has more poles at Bristol than Mark Martin. The only one that's got more is Cale Yarborough.
Yeah, and that was a 1/10 of a second faster than Montoya.
8-time pole winner. He won the pole here back in March, and he might just have this pole tonight. A little slower second time by, but a 15.414.
I had you at a 40. 41. Nice job, Mark. Nice work, bud.
Try to qualify. See if he can knock him. Whoa, Hamlin sideways, and he will lose it off of turn 2.
Okay. Here's what's got to happen. He's got to try to get a lap in here. He's got tires that may have flat spots. He's got to think about what he's going to do right here.
He really needs to turn around and go back and start this.
Yeah, he doesn't need to come across this line right here.
I think he'll turn around.
Okay, here we go. He's going to make it back. Get him another run.
So explain what he's doing now. If he comes by and takes the start-finish line, that ends his first lap and begins lap 2.
Begins the second lap, so he wouldn't have any momentum to start that second lap, and so both laps would be killed. Right now, he'll go back around. He can take as long as he wants here on this lap and then get another run and go to get the white flag, and then he can make a good fast lap.
He can actually come all the way back to the start-finish line if he wanted to, which is what he should do.
Yeah, he should come on around
momentum. That's really not as far as he needs to come, but he's going to try to make that work.
How about those tires, Andy?
Well, I mean, it looked to me like he may have flat spotted one of them, but he let the car roll a little bit. He might be okay.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be the heat that he got in is going to be more of a problem here now. He's not nearly as aggressive, but he's still loose.
Yeah, he's slow too. Could have hurt those tires quite a bit.
Just trying to get a solid lap in.
Really good in practice too.
Yeah, that's 1590. It's the slowest car so far.
Take
a look at this at the replay. We can see if maybe he did flat spot the tires.
attacking this racetrack here.
Yeah, what we're looking for right here is to see if the tires stop turning and slide on one place here. And you see they're still turning here. Should be okay. But then right here, you can see the front tires locked up. So I'm sure he had those things flat spotted pretty good.
Definitely.
So hands with Mark Martin. Dave.
And he was just looking at a tire sheet from his guys, which probably looks a lot better than Denny Hamlin's right now. A 2/10 pickup, Mark. You pleased with that?
Oh, yeah. I don't care where that winds up. That's a pretty good lap. I just can't keep getting these great special laps. The car was dead sideways going into 3. Exactly what Denny did is what I thought I was going to do. I've never been so scared in all my life, I swear to God. I ran the second lap because I thought the first one was junk. And so really tried to kill myself the second time because I knew I had to try to pick it up and the tires were going away. I just want to thank everybody, Hendrick Motorsports, CarQuest, Kellogg's, and everybody on the 5 team. They're the best. They give me this stuff to drive, and it's been so intense that it's taken a little of the fun away. I don't know about the luck, but we got the performance to do what we need to do. We can't do anything about the rest of it. Go out here and perform, and that's what I'm so proud of this race team. I'm so proud to be part of their team.
A lot of skill all around at Hendrick Motorsports in the 5 team right now, Doc.
Right now he is on the pole, and certainly, Dave, and a lot of drama. Will he be able to get in the chase? Here's Marcos Ambrose. And folks, back in the spring, Marcos Ambrose was very good at Bristol, ran in the top 5 for much of that race and finished 10th.
Yeah, you can see him loose here also, getting into the corners.
And that's the thing, if you're loose on the first lap, it's not likely you're going to be any tighter on the second. You overheat those rear tires, and it's just going to be worse.
Yeah, you're absolutely not going to be tighter.
We invite you to join us for our live coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series coming your way from Thunder Valley Bristol Motor Speedway tomorrow night, 6:30 Eastern Time, presented by Pennzoil. It all begins with our countdown presented by the Gree V12 at 6:30 Eastern Time. Will Mark Martin be on the pole? Can he get in the chase? Could he inch closer to getting in the chase? Could possibly Jimmy Johnson or Jeff Gordon lock themselves in? So many stories to follow, so much drama, all coming your way tomorrow night. Here's Joey Logano out to qualify, the 19-year-old from Connecticut. We'll see what he can do here. Whoa, he slides as well up off turn 2.
Yeah, Andy, as a crew chief, when you see guys, all of these guys loose, you make a huge adjustment with air pressure. That's the only thing you can adjust right now.
Oh, I'm down there working it hard on air pressure. I'm going to put a bunch of air in that right front. I'm going to probably put some in the left rear. I'm going to do everything I can to try to get this car tight, because what kills your lap here, if you get loose, I mean, you just cannot go. If you're tight, it might just slow you up just a little bit, but if you're loose, it kills the lap.
Yeah, that's the only way that you can be aggressive. You heard Mark Martin, he talked about getting loose going into 3, but it really didn't look like that. Joe Logano, a great second lap there, or great first lap.
Yeah, he had the same thing kind of going on there. He was a little bit loose, but he kept it just this side of getting too far out there and still made a good lap.
Just this side of the concrete, you're saying?
Well, there's a certain point that you go past, and it really does kill the speed. And if you can keep it just on the safe side of that, like Mark Martin did and Joey Logano, you can still make a pretty fast lap, but it's hard to do.
These next 3 races certainly in the wheelhouse for Clint Boyer as far as possibly getting in the chase. Good average finishes, good at Richmond, good at Atlanta, not bad at Bristol here. So he likes these kind of racetracks, and he is making a charge, trying to get up to that 12th spot.
I still say he's the most dangerous guy that's not in that they have to worry about, because he has so much experience on how to just make it in this chase, and he's used to this kind of pressure.
Clint has 3rd place finishes here the last 2 years at Bristol. A couple of top 5s would put him in the chase easily probably these next 3 races.
Yeah, a good starting spot would help him achieve that for sure. Makes life a lot easier if you can get something pretty decent.
Clint Boyer showing up 2nd on the scoring pylon down in the infield. We temporarily lost our scoring monitors up here.
Yeah, it's 15:48 is what they're showing there. So
great lap for the 33 car of Boyer. Now we'll see what his teammate can do on the racetrack, Kevin Harvick. There's the 29 car.
Harvick struggled in practice, and this is, man, when he struggles here, there's something going on.
Yeah, this is one of his best racetracks.
Kevin has 11 top 10 finishes here at Bristol, a win back in the spring of 2005. First time by, he's 7th overall, a 15:55.
That's all he's going to do is
He's
one
going
lap.
to take that one lap. So we really haven't seen anybody, unless they really messed up on the first one, run faster on their second lap. It's been about a 10th or 10th and a half slower.
Kevin is a 5-time winner here in the Nationwide Series, and he'll be driving his own Nationwide car here later on tonight. Let's go down to Dave.
And Joey Logano getting some credit from his team here. What was it like to qualify this car in and pick up as much time as you did?
Yeah, everyone seemed to pick up a lot. I just got to figure out how to beat the old man up there. He's pretty good. So I don't know. The Home Depot Toyota is pretty good. Just we got loose. I felt like I gave up a lot of speed off it too. I about knocked down the fence. So I'll take it. I was surprised it was that fast actually. So the guys are doing great this week. I tell you, we unloaded with a good race car. Coming here for the second time really helps. So just fortunate with a good team and having fun.
Tony Stewart on the racetrack, our points leader. Winner here back in August of 2002.
Tony's fighting a loose race car himself. He wasn't all that good in the practice session. Of course, a lot of these guys just work strictly on their race setup. They didn't worry about qualifying as much. Especially someone like Tony, who's in the chase already, sitting up there atop the points.
He's got a little work to do, though, tomorrow night.
Yes, he does.
12th spot so far.
15.661. And if you're Tony Stewart, I guess you need to focus on trying to win races and be able to get that top seed.
That's
you don't
it.
have to.
That's nothing else out there for him. He's already got that. He's in the chase, and what's going to get him points when the chase starts is wins.
Yeah, and they're not coming to a track like this in the chase, so there's no reason in trying things. So you're just trying to go out there and throw something at it and see if you can win. Speaking of somebody who needs to win, here's Kyle Busch.
Back 15th in the point standings, and Kyle Busch dominated here in the spring, went on to victory. He dominated this race last August, led 415 laps at Bristol. Hard to find anybody's better at this track than he's been the last couple of years.
The 7th quickest, 15:54.
You can just see how critical these hundredths and thousandths of a second are. A lot of cars in the 1550s.
15:70 that time by, so we'll take his first lap at 15.545. So it is Mark Martin, Clint Bowyer, Joey Logano, Juan Pablo Montoya, and Kurt Busch right now the top 5 in qualifying. Robbie Gordon on the racetrack here at Bristol, Tennessee to qualify, and we'll see what Robbie can do with his Toyota. Robbie very aggressive at this racetrack, likes to charge the corners, and some of the guys who were charging earlier have had their issues. Right now he looks very smooth entering one.
First lap 15:66, 14.
The car's taking a good line around. Sometimes if you're doing that and the car's pretty comfortable, that just means you're not going as fast as what you need to. It slows down only 0.05 of a second on his second lap.
So he will stay in 14th spot of the 18 cars that have gone out and taken time thus far. Lots of motorsports coming your way later tonight. Live flag-to-flag coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Bristol, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. Brad Keselowski on the pole. And of course tomorrow night, 6:30 Eastern Time, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action presented by Pennzoil on ESPN. The Toyo Tires NHRA qualifying tomorrow, 1 a.m. Eastern Time, and final Sunday at 10 Eastern Time, both on ESPN2. NASCAR Now tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern at midnight on ESPN2 as well.
David Rudeman on the track, clocks in 10th quickest in his first lap. Just a couple of hundred slower than what he ran in practice. I'm sorry, quicker than what he ran in practice.
Best finish at Bristol for Rudeman was back this spring. He finished 12th.
That's 8 cars in the 1550 second bracket. Vince?
With Carl Edwards, Carl has won this race the last 2 years, but well down the speed chart in the final practice. Carl, what was the issue with your race car in that final practice session?
I think the only thing we were lacking was speed. I hope this Aflac Fusion's fast. We really leaned on a couple of my teammates, and boy, I pulled out to make my last run, and they said no, you can't come out. So I have no clue what this thing's going to do. I hope it's fast. My Nationwide car was fast, and we'd like to get a good starting position because it's going to be very difficult to pass, I think, tomorrow night.
Some changes made with this car. We'll see how Carl qualifies it after that tough practice session. Doc?
Thank you very much. Hey, David Strimmy on the track, and word from Strimmy, he's telling folks in the garage area that he is out of this car at the end of the year, that he's had discussions with Roger Penske and those folks, and he will not be back in the 12 in 2010.
First lap was 17th quickest.
You see how loose.
68, yeah.
That second lap, man, he was really loose getting into 3.
Let's go back down to Dave.
Hey guys, Kyle Busch breaking it down right now with crew chief Steve Addington as far as his lap goes. Giving him lots of feedback. But Steve had a smile on his face, and you do a little bit too. You picked up. Do you learn anything more about your car there?
Well, that was the best it's been all day, and that's the best I've ever had a car qualifying here. So it didn't quite show the speed we were hoping for, but that was really good for the M&M's Camry. Real proud of Steve and the guys. We've been trying so hard, and we were good here in race trim. We know that, but qualifying trim we've sort of struggled. So you guys on TV can probably hear me, but I can't hear myself talk so when they go by. But it should be a good starting spot for us, hopefully. I'm excited about it, and it'll be better than what we've had here in the past anyway.
Decent starting spot for a guy fighting his way into the chase, guys.
Trying to fight his way in and couldn't be at a better track for him, and these tracks coming up for Kyle Busch. Here is Martin Truex, and as good as Martin has been on the short tracks, he has never had a top 10 start or finish here at Bristol.
It's a tough place, man, I'll tell you.
He's not going to get a top 10 start this time either. He may work his way into that finish tomorrow night before it's over, but that'll be 12th quickest at a 15:63 in this first lap.
Well, that 41 Mark Martin laid down looks pretty good right now.
Mark Martin, a 15.414, and won the pole back in the spring, trying to sweep both pole positions here in 2009.
Most of the time when Mark Martin thinks it's a good lap, it's going to hold up pretty good. He's one of those that can lay down a fast lap but get out and say, well, somebody can beat that, because he felt like he left something laying there. Just his comments after that run makes me feel like he feels good about his lap to hold up for the pole.
Let's see if the momentum from that Michigan run helps this 88 team here. Former winner at Bristol, Tennessee, Dale Earnhardt Jr. First time by for Jr., 14th overall in a 15.65.
Going to be exactly the lap that they were looking for. As I watched him practice earlier today, it looked like he was fighting a loose race car during practice. Still going to be 14th quickest at a 65. Let's go down to Vince with Paul Menard.
The birthday boy, Paul Menard, celebrating a birthday today, number 29. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, it's normally it's in Michigan when I have my birthday, but this year's in Bristol, and it's been a hectic day for sure. But it's we got a good race carded for tonight. We'll have fun.
I was going to say, do you have a car worth celebrating about here today?
Well, our Nationwide car was really good. About wrecked in qualifying, and almost missed the show. But I think that car is really good. We made big improvements on the 98 Ford for the Cup Series, and we'll see what we got here.
Happy birthday, Paul. Doc?
Indeed, happy birthday to Paul. Here's Ryan Newman on the racetrack trying to get his first pole at Bristol. Actually, he has 2 Bristol poles. He has 10 top 10 starts. His best finish here, second in this race back in 2004.
Well, he ran in the 1550s on that first lap, but he's one of the ones that ran the low 1550s. A 1551, that's 4th quickest so far.
Ryan Newman currently 4th in qualifying. Of course, he's one of the drivers also worried about staying in this chase and being able to be a factor after missing it the last couple of years. And you can take a look where he has finished.
Took a big hit at Michigan.
So Ryan Newman got a lot to think about here for 500 laps on Saturday night. 2000 Series champion Bobby Labonte on the racetrack trying to hustle his car number 96 around in qualifying. Bobby's best start here at Bristol was 3rd twice. He has 10 top 10 starts. Hard to believe he hasn't won a cup race here. His best finish was third back in the spring of 2003.
Whoa. Oh, big time loose get into 3.
Pretty good first lap. That was 12th quickest at 15. Another one of those cars in the 50s,
yeah.
so 59.
Nice job, pal. Nice job. 15.59. One.
Let's go down to Dave.
Same bye with Dale Earnhardt Jr., who I'm sure was hoping for a little more out of that lap, but you did pick up some from practice. How's the car?
Oh, it did. I don't know what I ran.
Couple tenths.
Well, we were really loose there. I don't know. I couldn't get in the corner. It was really loose in, and then it just pushed off. So we'll see how it goes. Sugar Free Amp Chevrolet was good in race trim, but we couldn't get anything going in qualifying trim. So just have to do what we can on pit road and be smart on the racetrack. But I think we got a pretty good race car.
Not having the sugar in the drink this week, does that mess you up at all?
Well, this stuff's pretty good. They got a new formula for it, and it tastes really good. But hopefully, we've been working out. We've all been losing weight, and this stuff here helps.
Looking good and feeling good for tomorrow night's race, guys.
Good to see Dale Jr. smiling here as well. There's his car, number 88, and right now sitting 17th on the grid.
Reed Sorensen is top 5 so far. Another 15.50, 52.
Car looked really good around the racetrack. He was pretty solid there. Slows down just like everybody else on that second lap.
But this would be a career best start for Reed if he could hold on to a top 7 position. We invite you to join us for live flag-to-flag coverage. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action presented by Pennzoil coming your way starting at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, beginning with NASCAR Countdown. What a slugfest it was here last August. Remember that, folks? Final laps, Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards on the track, off the track fireworks. And we should have that and more here tomorrow night, starting at 6:30 Eastern Time. 17 car, Matt Kenseth out to qualify.
Looks like he has a pretty decent lap going. Looked pretty smooth there. Didn't do anything crazy. Oh, yeah. Second. 15:48.
Well, he is so smooth, he doesn't even look that fast.
Look like this lap here is going to be any quicker, though.
No, he got kind of moved up the track in 3. Seems like these tires just lose grip in a hurry.
A couple tenths slower on the second lap.
Matt is a 2-time winner here at Bristol. As trying to hang on to a spot in the chase. He's had top 10, top 15 finishes in the last 4 races. We talked about what happened here last August. Here's the final laps. Carl Edwards trying to get by and does get by Kyle Busch, who had led 415 laps. And after the checkered flag, that's the connection there off of turn 2. The 18, and then Carl pays him back, and then Carl says, I need to go around and somersault here and declare victory, which he indeed did. And then after the win, he said, I think we got ourselves a rivalry here.
I'm sure he's got the lap he was looking for. He was hoping he'd have a fast car. Said they didn't get to make a qualifying attempt in practice. That is a 22nd.
Said we had everything we need but speed.
Yeah.
I think he was right.
That becomes important at times.
15,674, and Carl, Andy, back in 22nd position out of just 27 cars that have gone.
Well, it's going to a lot of work for that team tomorrow night, and now they're going to have to come from 22nd and with a pit stall that's not going to be the best to choose from.
Vince?
I'm going to step in here and visit with Elliott Sadler in just a moment. They're rolling Elliott's car up to his pit position. Elliott scored his very first Cup win here at Bristol, and he's working with a new crew chief this weekend. Wally Rogers has taken over that position up on the box, and we'll see if we can catch up with Elliott once they get the car stopped rolling. Guys.
Here's Sam Hornish, and talk about a guy that's really had a good few weeks here. Sam Hornish has had top 5 finishes in 2 of the last 3-time races. A 4th at Pocono, a 5th at Michigan. Of course, he was involved in that grinding crash at Watkins Glen. Let's see what Sam
learned to adjust to, because things are happening so quickly. It's almost hard to take it in as a driver and relate that back to your crew chief then.
See, slower second time by, so Sam will have to come from the back of the pack here tomorrow night.
See Jeff Burton, yeah, getting up to speed. Sorry, Dale. getting up to speed. Jeff Burton's had a lot of good races here at Bristol. He's one of those who knows how to stay out of trouble. He's running way up on the racetrack here on this lap.
Yeah, we talked about earlier, when we first came on, talked about how there was shade across most of the track. Now, just turns 2 and 3 are really unshaded, and the rest of the track's got sunshine on, which is a good thing. We don't want to see these clouds for tonight. The Burton's not going to be too happy with his first lap at a 15.71. He's only going to take one real loose. You heard him say that's 26th.
He was a good 2 lanes up in both ends of the racetrack.
Yeah, well, it just means you couldn't turn the steering wheel. You heard him say it's loose. You get in there. You want to turn. No, you need to be down, but you can't, or you're going to spin out.
Well, let's go down and visit with Matt Kenseth. Dave.
And guys, when someone picks up half a second over their best practice time here at Bristol, I have to assume just about everything went right for you on that lap and with the car.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened there. We were really, honestly, so bad today in practice. We just kept throwing stuff at it, and we never even practiced qualifying. We just threw in a 16 qualifying stuff, so I expect him to go pretty fast here because that's all his stuff, and we just made a lap. So these guys really worked hard today, and we got a good
all the credit. You wanted to give some to the crew for some reason.
All right, here's A.J. Allmendinger out to qualify in the Richard Petty Motorsports Dodge.
That's when you say, yeah, man, I had to carry that car on my back.
That's right. Yeah, we weren't good. These guys were turn 2 has shade. He seemed to get a pretty good run off of there, carrying a little more speed down into 3, and that's where a lot of them you see get loose getting into the corner. But a good first lap for AJ.
Now we may see if indeed Matt Kenseth was right, because here comes the guy he's talking about, the Biff. Let's see if Greg Biffle has got something for him, because it was his setup that helped Matt sit right now on the front row.
He was really happy after practice. He liked his car. He liked it in race trim. He liked how fast it was too.
Nice and smooth out of turn 4.
Looking good.
Short. Second. 43. Wow. Good lap, though.
2/100ths. What a nice lap.
At least he did beat Matt. He would have been mad if he
you hate to give him your setup and they go beat you then.
So it is Mark Martin and Biffle in the first row. Kenseth, Boyer, and Logano in the top 5. The birthday boy, Paul Menard, in his car. Engine fired, getting set to go out and qualify. 31 cars have gone on the track of the 47 that are here. Right now it is Mark Martin, Greg Biffle, Matt Kenseth, Clint Boyer, Joey Logano in the top 5. Then Newman, Sorensen, Montoya, Kurt Busch, and Brian Vickers, the top 10.
Well, if you look at the top of the standings right now, you see a lot of cars that are on the bubble or just around that bubble for the chase. So they're stepping it up because they have to, and they're trying to go after these bonus points. They need to lead laps, and they need to get a good finish here.
Yeah, literally fighting for their life right now, because those last 10 races don't mean nearly as much if you're not in the chase. You see Martin, Biffle, and Kenseth are all in there right now, but they're trying to hang on. Boyer, who sits 4th, sits just outside of that top 12.
Well, what a place to fight for your life in Bristol, Tennessee, where so much of what happens is out of your control.
Yeah, this 500 laps of fighting for your life. You got to be up on it. These guys look like they're ready for the challenge.
I think Paul Menard was hoping for a little better run for his birthday.
Yes, he was.
30th quick out of 32. Not going to be happy with that.
He said he was 29. You two guys.
I know. I can't believe we're the same age.
Yeah, y'all are just over 29, aren't you?
I'm 31. Andy's 30.
Yeah, something like
Let's
that.
go down to Dave.
With Greg Biffle, and we're glad that Greg was reading the script today. Give Matt your setup, but don't let him beat you in qualifying, right?
Yeah, I know it. I guess I got to wait till I'm Mark Martin's age till I'm calm enough to be able to go and do this. You know,
how do you even get close?
I know the guys gave me a great car. This thing's running good. I'm still shaking from that lap, but I just screwed up in 1 and 2. I didn't go back to the gas soon enough. The car's stock. I just didn't have the guts to push the gas down. I did down here, but I didn't down there, and I missed it by just an inch. So feel bad for the guys, but a good start spot for us.
Yeah, but he's been happy with it all day, as you guys have said.
And he was shaking, so was Elliott Sadler. Elliott did a great job, but twice in both ends of the racetrack, DJ, to save that race car.
Wow, talk about a loose race car. Elliott showed us that. He couldn't turn the wheel to get down the racetrack, and every time he tried to go to the throttle, it was sideways. So it's unfortunate for him. That's the slowest.
All I could not to wreck it.
Yeah, all he could not to wreck it. 15.99. So.
Yeah, you heard Biffle talking about shaking after making those qualifying runs, and you kind of hear the same thing from Mark Martin. It's got to be just a huge adrenaline rush to go out there and run that kind of lap.
That's what it is. Yeah, if you ever gotten yourself to drink too much coffee or get too much caffeine in you, and how you kind of get jacked up, and then your nervous system takes over. I'm not a doctor, but that's what I'm saying, Doc. So,
we have one up here.
But you get in there, and it's such a rush to get out here, knowing what you have to do. I mean, it's 15 seconds of just as hard as you can possibly go, and you literally do come in then not hardly breathing, and you're shaking. So that's when you know that you've had a fun lap.
On the racetrack, the 07, Casey Mears, the toast to the troops car. They're saluting our U.S. troops here on a big weekend with a lot of special guests in town. Let's see what Casey can do. Coming off his best run of the year, last week 6th at Michigan.
He's going to like this one. 5th.
Yeah, nice. You got to be calling him in. Nobody else has run quicker that's run a decent lap. That's a 15:50.
Well, let him give it a shot, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Oh no, he's a couple tenths, quarter of a second slower on second lap, but great first lap.
That would tie his best career start here, 5th back in the spring of 2008. Let's catch up. Is Elliott Sadler shaking in there, Dave? You probably ought to be.
Well, I don't know if you want to hold up the hand or not. We've been talking about how guys shake during a little bit. Okay, all right. What was that lap like?
That's what we call out of control. I just tried not to wreck the car. It was really, really loose. We just missed a little bit. So kind of put us in a hole, but we're racing for $1 million tomorrow night. But anything can happen. We got to use some pitch strategy and hopefully have a little lady luck go our way, and we'll go ahead and make the most of it.
Having a new crew chief, how much work has that been with the new crew chief this weekend, Elliott?
It's good. I mean, we had some good communication during practice, and race trim we were pretty decent, and thought we were going to be okay in qualifying trim, but whoo, it was that's what we call a handful. So I'm just glad it's in one piece, and we'll have to use our heads tomorrow and try to get some pitch strategy, get some track position, and go from there.
Takes some time to learn each other when they make these changes, doesn't it, guys?
Oh man, sometimes you predict what it's going to do, and it doesn't do anything like you thought it was going to do.
Yep, and that makes it tough. But Elliott had told me his car was pretty good in race practice as David Reagan completed his. That's 19th quickest at a 15:62. That's just the kind of things when you go to start doing qualifying runs to try to make a fast and getting that communication, that can take a little bit of time.
David Reagan, the last of the cars that are guaranteed a starting spot. And now these cars going out to qualify now are the ones that are what we call the go or go homers, although Terry Labonte, the two-time Cup champion, Texas Terry, is guaranteed a spot by virtue of a past champion's provisional.
Ran a 15:94 in practice. Let's see if he can improve on that. It'll be better than that for sure.
Yeah, 15:62.
It's up 19th spot.
Terry knows how to get around this racetrack. He's been one of the smoothest drivers I've ever seen here.
He's a two-time winner. Terry has 33 top 10 finishes at Bristol. A little bit slower that time by, but Terry 19th overall with a 15.620 second lap.
Yeah, I think that's going to be good enough to earn himself a spot. He's not going to have to use that past champion. He's getting that.
Next car to go out will be front row Joe Nemechek. His best Bristol finish, 12th back in August of 2005. His best start here, 5th, way back in 1994.
See Joe with sponsorship on the car this week. Good to see.
Had a good run through 1 and 2 there. Lost a little bit just right at the late exit.
Yeah, and he's losing it up in the middle of 3 and 4 too. He's going to have to pick it up on this second lap.
Looks like he gave the car a chance to stick. It just didn't do it.
Didn't do it. See him carrying the speed in. Now he's going to need to get it off corner here.
Well, that's the problem. If you carry too much speed in the corner, the car just won't take it. The tires won't take it. The track won't take it. And you pay the price coming off the corner.
A little bit quicker second time by for Joe. 15:78 puts him 33rd of the 37 cars that have gone out. Qualifying ongoing. Now we're in a group of cars here at Bristol that have to get in on time and speed. 4 of these cars will not make it in the race on Saturday night. 47 cars here. 43 will start. And Mike Wallace out in the 64 car, the Gunzelman Motorsports machine.
There hadn't been a Wallace around anywhere yet that hadn't been able to get around this racetrack pretty good. See what Mike can do with this car. Not what he's looking for. First car over 16 seconds.
Mike, one of 13 drivers scheduled to do double duty here in the Cup race, and of course later on tonight the NASCAR Nationwide Series race.
Still, that's the slowest car that's qualified so far.
Let's go down and visit with Casey Mears. Dave.
And he was not slow, guys. Casey, where did you pick up the time on that qualifying lap over your practice laps today?
You know, I don't know. We just, at the end there, we had a pretty good run on scuffs, and that's what got us our best spot in qualifying trim. We thought we were better, but it was on scuffs, so we didn't know how much better we were going to be in qualifying. And we got the salute to the troops paint scheme this weekend. Maybe them guys overseas gave us some grit, but, you know, that was the biggest thing that we were working on all practice was a fast lap. We felt pretty good over the long run, but we just couldn't put down a lap, and it showed up when it needed to, so that was good.
And there's your headline, Doc. Troops provide grip to Casey Mears. I like it.
Well, Dave Blaney having a good lap here.
Well, I tell you, he is third quickest.
Wow.
15:47. Gets in between Biffle and Kenseth.
How about that for your former World Outlaws champion? He's accustomed to high bank racetracks where you slip and slide a little bit, huh?
Yeah, he made a run at the pole there till he just coming off of turn 4.
Great qualifying.
Great job, buddy. Great job. P3.
And we can follow Dave Blaney's progress and others as you join us. So we invite you to join us tomorrow night. Live coverage, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action presented by Pennzoil, beginning with the NASCAR Countdown. We'll have Mark Martin joining us in the NASCAR Countdown studios, talking about his 1,000th career start and what happens here when they turn the lights on and it gets dark in Bristol. Do you think it's a lack of oxygen in the August race at night that causes all the crazy things to happen?
Well, when you put 160,000 people around here, everybody's trying to take up all of that. So, yeah, it makes it difficult. I don't know exactly what it is, but it does get wild and crazy.
Here's David Gilliland in the 71 car, Andy, and he has a pretty good run.
Yeah, he does. He was top 10 in practice, and he runs one lap, 15:52, 11th fastest. Great job.
Andy, I think looking at all of these times, we've got 3 drivers that have picked up on their second lap, and most of them messed up on the first lap at some point of it. And I think it's going to show us that tomorrow's really going to fall off as they run times. It's going to make it interesting racing as those times start falling off, give opportunities for passing.
It is. When the tires go away, the groove does seem to widen out. The other thing is it puts a lot of emphasis on strategy and tires. Tires are going to make a lot of difference, it looks like, tomorrow night.
That'll open up a lot of different avenues for the wave around and the double file restarts and all of that. So should be a long night of interesting strategy and racing.
37 car Tony Raines on the racetrack. Tony's from Indiana. Now his car owner is just from down the street here in Bristol, Tennessee, about halfway between here and Knoxville, Tennessee. Front Row Motorsports, very important to get this car qualified for what that team would consider to be a home race here in Bristol.
And another driver that drove it off into turn 1 but paid the price and trying to get the exit of turn 2. Not a bad lap, 15:71. Puts him right now the 4th of the cars that have to qualify on time here.
And even better, second time by, picks it up 15:70. Puts him up in the 32nd right there.
That officially locks Dave Blaney in. There was no question that was going to happen. He's third quickest on the board, but he is locked in.
Now last year's Rookie of the Year, bestest Rookie of the Year, Regan Smith going out to qualify. And good news this week coming out of this team, Furniture Row Motorsports, that Barney Visser has said he will run the full series in 2010, which is great to have Regan Smith to be able to come back on board and run full-time as opposed to this part-time schedule they were relegated to this year.
Pretty good lap he's got going here. You see we're comparing him to 11th, David Gilliland trying to get locked in. Pretty good lap. I'll be in the 26th spot at a 15:65.
Yeah, this team, they run this team out of Colorado, Denver, Colorado. I've actually visited their shops before. It's not the typical place you would think to race one of these cup cars or cup teams out of, but they do a good job with it.
And they got a very talented race driver. He slows down a little bit on his second lap.
And they said the economy has turned around so much in the furniture business, they're looking forward to what's going to happen in 2010. Back in a moment. Former Truck Series champion and Sprint Cup Rookie of the Year, Mike Skinner. And Mike has a handful out of turn 2, gathers it back in and over in the shadows there.
That's a very loose car as he tried to exit turn 2. going to hurt his speed on the first lap. That's 98, 15.98. Mike's going to have to pick it up if he's going to lock himself in here.
Looks like he's got a better lap going here, but still real loose.
Yeah, use up a lot of racetrack there.
Driving for Tommy Baldwin Racing. And he does pick it up a little bit of 15.793, 38th overall. Dave.
And David Gilliland getting lots of congratulations from his TRG crew. And talk about the description coming out of 2 there. What was that like?
Yeah, the car was a little tight. I had to lift coming off of both ends. Car was, had more speed than what we ran, but really excited. We're 11 so far. We got TaxSlayer.com on the car. The new sponsor that came on board with us and allowing us to run some more races this year. And we're real excited. Last time they were on my car, I missed the race at Watkins Glen, and it was a tough day for me. So happy to have them here. They're all here, and everybody's pumped up and excited. So we're excited. Car's good. We did a lot of race trim stuff, and feel like we're going to have a great car for tomorrow night. So I can't wait.
We'll watch David Gilliland coming from the middle third of the front there, guys.
Yeah, wow, look at Scott's speed.
Scott,
wow.
Yeah, he was 7th quick in practice.
Good job, man.
That's the 3rd quickest time there, 15:45.
His best start of the year was 2nd at Chicago, and this by far is his best start at Bristol. He qualified 11th back in the spring of this year.
I don't think they have anything like this in Formula One racing like Bristol do.
I wouldn't think so.
Taking this track pretty well.
I think he saw his teammate win last week, so it's time to step it up.
You mentioned Formula One and open wheel racing. How about this guy getting ready to go out? Max Pappas. Mad Max, who last time on the racetrack, Max had an impressive performance, but that was on a road course at Watkins Glen, a career best 8th place finish. Let's see what he can do here on the high banks at Bristol.
Yeah, that's 2 opposite ends of the spectrum when you say a road course to Bristol. All those high banks and all about rhythm.
Yeah, but if he'll drive this like he approaches that to where he doesn't attack the corners, he backs out a little bit and gets back to the throttle, he'll give himself a good chance here. Like that car might actually been a little bit on the tight side right there.
Doesn't look fast.
First time by for Max, and he's 43rd, 15.93. Got to pick it up. He's got any shot of getting in.
That's the only way. If you got a tight race car, you can count on it loosening up a little bit for the 2nd lap. Maybe pick up a little bit more speed. Going to be close. Maybe not, though.
No, it's actually just a little bit slower, so Max will not race tomorrow night.
So Max will not start, neither will Mike Wallace. Those are the 2 cars thus far that have not gotten in the show. Well, the team that everyone in this part of the country has talked about for years is the Morgan McClure Racing Team, and their headquarters in Abingdon, Virginia. They came here with a driver by the name of Ernie Irvin, who won his very first NASCAR Cup Series race. This team has sort of fallen on some hard times in recent 18 or 20 months or so, but now they are back with high hopes of getting back in the NASCAR Sprint Cup field, and they have tabbed Scott Wimmer to try to get this car qualified at the home racetrack.
You're going to need to pick up just a little bit from practice to be able to make it looks like.
Car looks pretty decent there. Able to get back. I think he's going to be pretty good.
That'll do it right there.
Yeah,
that
nice lap.
Yeah, nice job.
That will make the home fans proud, because they've been talking about that for the last couple of months in this area, about when would the 4 car get back in a NASCAR Sprint Cup race.
Boy, there'll be nothing better. Yeah, and as a driver, hearing that crew chief key that mic to come over and tell you that you don't need to run that 2nd lap, that's a nice feeling. So good job by Scott Wimmer. That was a nice pickup from what he had run in practice.
Final car to go out to qualify is Eric Almirola, and the 09 car for James Finch. And here's a guy that'll charge a racetrack.
Yeah, he was in the top 5 in the first practice session. Looks like he was 17th in happy hour.
Like you say, he's got to do it now.
His best career finish in NASCAR Sprint Cup racing came here at this racetrack. He finished 8th.
Oops, he slipped
drove
up
it
high.
in that corner, though.
Yeah, he drove it in just a little bit too hard. Whoa! This is not good. Not good. No,
Stop it if you can.
Okay, he's knocked a part of the wing off. The right, you see right there on the right side, he's knocked that corner of the wing off. It's down out of the groove. It's on the apron in turn 4.
Everything's okay. Let's come on back. Bring the car all the way back.
Now, what's that the end plate? There's the end plate off the wing. What's that going to do when he tries to go back and get up to speed and qualify?
Can I get back to you here in about 30 seconds?
He's going to wish he could have stopped and picked that up, I can tell you.
He'll want that.
Those wings are on there, and they're designed for a reason, and that helps give you some of that side force that you need.
And you can see he's already loose. He needs all he can get. And there's where he loses the piece of the wing.
Well, he's going to come all the way back around.
Yeah, I mean, he's not in this race if he doesn't make a lap here, so he's going to have to do everything he can.
Yep, that would put Joe Nemechek in the race if he's not able to get something going here. And it's going to be very difficult. He slid the tires as he tried to slow down and stop before he got to the start-finish line.
And he's going to have to run better than a 1580 to get in.
He's loose again.
He is all over the place here.
I would say he'd be really loose getting into the corner here.
Can't imagine his car is going to be able to hang on to the racetrack somehow out of turn 2. He makes it.
Hey, he was sideways halfway down the backstretch. And
loose again.
Sideways. .16. That's pretty good job with what he had, but not going to make it.
Yeah, his troubles will put Joe Nemechek in the race.
And that will make Mark Martin our pole sitter for the 2nd time at Bristol in 2009. Vince.
And the 9th time at Bristol overall, but he just took a big sigh. You mean it doesn't get any easier? After all these years, it's still hard, isn't it?
Feels like I'm carrying a 200-pound gorilla on my shoulders, man. I'm glad it's finally lifted off. We had a great race car, but, you know, we've gotten so many really special laps. I believe the law of average is going to catch up with you. I didn't need to choke today, and we got a great lap again, and so that was really good.
Bonus points for the pole, bonus points for leading a lap as you start from the pole tomorrow, possibly. You're right there on the bubble. Every point matters.
Wait. I got to straighten you out. No bonus points
yet. No bonus points yet.
No bonus points
but
yet.
You're on the pole, and you could lead a lap to get some bonus points, and all the points are important at this stage. How big a shot in the arm is it for you to be on the pole for this race tomorrow night?
It's a big shot in the arm. It's huge. This race team means so much to me, and they dig so hard, and they give me such great race cars, and you know, we're just trying to let our performance do our work for us. You know, we can't do a whole lot about the luck or the racing gods, but if we put our performance out there on the racetrack, we hope that takes care of us.
He's a good one. We'll look for it tomorrow. Dave.
And you'll also see Scott Speed with a great qualifying run 3rd. You really outdid yourself over the spring here. What was that lap like?
It was good, you know, just nice and conservative. I mean, the guys, they gave me a great car all weekend. I mean, Jimmy did a good job all weekend. And we came here and we started practicing. We weren't that great, and we just started putting stuff back to kind of how we had it in the spring, and it just all started working, and we've been fast since. So hopefully the good starting spot will give us an opening and you know, give us some good luck for the race.
Scott, does this track rank among the most unusual that you've encountered in Cup racing?
Honestly, even if we don't have the best results here, I mean, this has always been, since I've come over to America, one of the best tracks to be at. There's not a track in the world that looks like it. It's in a beautiful location in the world, and I've always loved coming here.
You know, attitude counts for a lot when you come to this place, doesn't it, guys?
Boy, it really does. And how about parity? It's a Chevy on the pole. Ford is 2nd. Toyota 3rd. The top Dodge. Good run by Reed Sorensen. He is 10th. Back in a moment. Lots of motorsports action yet to come your way. 7:30 Eastern time tonight. NASCAR Nationwide Series action here in Bristol on ESPN2. And of course, tomorrow night, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series presented by Pennzoil, beginning with NASCAR Countdown at 6:30 Eastern time on ESPN. Toyo Tires NHRA action qualifying tomorrow at 1 a.m. Eastern time, and the final Sunday at 10 on ESPN2. NASCAR Now, tomorrow 9 a.m. Eastern and midnight Eastern time, wrapping up the entire weekend of motorsports on ESPN2 as well. Let's go down and visit with a driver who had a lot of pressure on his shoulders here in qualifying a moment ago. Dave.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, just how fearful he was of making this car get in the race. How did you do it, though? You behind the wheel, and then these guys with very little resources putting this car in.
Yeah, I just got to thank Alpha Natural Resources for coming on board. They're a Virginia-based company helping out Morgan McClure get back on the track here. And it's been a long time since I've been at a Cup race. It's been a long time since I've drove one of these cars, but I'm really happy for Larry and Tim and all the McClure brothers up there. They did a great job, and we'll be racing. Who knows?
Now, as far as you know, Scott, what happens from here with their group and with you as a driver?
Well, I know they've been trying to get this car back on the track for the last couple of years, and just the sponsorship hasn't come through to do it. And fortunately, this weekend we got a little bit of money, and maybe this will lead to better things. I'd like to run for these guys a little bit more. I think if they could put all the pieces together and all the pieces back into place, they could be a contending team each and every week.
Just a few more dollars, put some quality cars in the show every week, guys.
Speedway. And again, coming up in just a half an hour, we'll be back here with live coverage, flag to flag, of the NASCAR Nationwide Series race. Brad Keselowski is on the pole, trying to pick up his 4th win of 2009. Coming up next is NASCAR Now. Nicole Mansky will be in the studio to update qualifying, and we'll see you back here in just a half an hour. Now to NASCAR Now.